Brett Yormark, Nets. Michael Yormark, Live Nation, Rock Nation. Jay-Z, Juan Perez, Sean Marks, Kenny Atkinson. They've built something over there in Brooklyn. They have a level of credibility the New York Knicks have been starving for decades. I'll never abandon New York. I'll always love New York. It doesn't matter whether I'm living here or in LA. I love the Knicks no matter what. No matter how many games the Brooklyn Nets entice me to attend. But talk about exercising in cruelty. How is Spike Lee feeling right now? How is Ben Stiller feeling right now? I mean, it's gotten to a point where, my God, what are you going to do to us next? Just stab us in our chest? Don't even try to hide it no more? I mean, this is so epically bad. And if you're going to sign Julius Randle, did it have to be for $21 million? I thought you weren't doing anyone but 1 or 2 year deals. You signed him a 3-year deal. 3rd year is a team option. So I guess that's a great thing. But I'm just saying. Did you have to announce it that day? John, look at me. Did it have to be announced yesterday? You couldn't wait till the day? How is it that minutes after losing out on KD and Kyrie, y'all think it's okay to reach an agreement with Julius Randle? It couldn't wait 12 hours? Bobby Portis? It couldn't wait 12 hours? You couldn't wait? This is worse than the New York Knicks going after LeBron James and acquiring an injured Amari Stoudemire.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by new Shell V-Power Nitro plus premium gasoline. Now with 4 levels of defense against gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here with you. Coming at you as I love to do every weekday. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Before I get to the phones, let me just remind y'all, I mean, the West is just so interesting. Kawhi, is he going to go to the Lakers or the Clippers? You know, because from what everybody is hearing, it seems more like it's going to be one of those 2 teams as opposed to the Toronto Raptors. But as I look at the Western Conference, Nurkic is back. Plus, Portland acquired Hassan Whiteside, who will be a lot better, in my opinion, now that he's out away from the distractions that exist in South Beach. He just wasn't made for that place. He's not disciplined enough as far as I'm concerned. Portland can't be underestimated. The Clippers can't be underestimated, especially if they get Kawhi. They're a championship contender. The Lakers are the Lakers. Sacramento can't be summarily dismissed. They were battling for an 8th seed, a final playoff spot last season. I expect them to take a leap. But the team that I'm looking at right now is the Utah Jazz. I brought up Bogdanovich and how I think he's a plus. Him with Joe Ingles, I mean, they could do some things. You got Donovan Mitchell, who's an absolute stud, and I love him. But then you picked up Mike Conley. You still got Rudy Gobert, who had 306 dunks last season, the most in the NBA. So imagine how many dunks he's going to have this upcoming season when you're able, if you're Quinn Snyder, the coach, to put 4 perimeter dudes on the court. Just think about that. So I'm looking at it from that perspective, and I'm like, my goodness, this stuff is getting real hectic. Utah's formidable, man. Utah cannot be ignored. And I'm just of that mindset right now. It's all getting very interesting. I'm just looking at it. I'm seeing it for what it is. Pay attention. 888-SAY ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Let's go to Eric. You're live, Stephen A. What's up, babe?
Yo, what's up, Stephen A? Big fan, man.
All right, talk to me.
I just want to know. I know where you say you want Kawhi to end up, but where do you think if you was him, where would he go? Where do you think he's gonna go?
I think he is probably going to go to the Lakers. I do not know. I definitely think it's the Lakers or the Clippers. Right now, I think the Lakers have the edge, but I don't have a damn clue. I don't know. All I know is that you hear different things. You hear that he's probably leaning towards the Lakers. We'll see.
All right, thanks, man.
No problem. Let's go to Dan. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Dan?
Hey, Stephen A., how you doing? I've been hearing that the Raptors are now up in the fire contract, and the Lakers are going to give Kawhi 4 years. Do you think he might resign with the Raptors if it's a fire contract?
I don't think he's going to resign with the Raptors. My personal opinion is that he doesn't resign with the Raptors. But with Masai Ujiri, you can never completely and utterly rule him out. You can't underestimate anything.
Take care of yourself. Have a nice day, Stephen A.
Thank you. Let's go to Jeff. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, Stephen A. It's a pleasure. A couple things. I think Kawhi is much better off in the long term going to the Clippers, only because they have a stable bench around him, team around him, where the Lakers are one injury from being, a bottom feeder. If LeBron or AD gets hurt for significant time, I feel like they don't have enough to keep up, where the Clippers definitely do.
So you think Kawhi should go to the Clippers?
I do, personally, just for that reason, because, if Kawhi does get hurt also, he's got a team that can still sustain and maybe make the playoffs. He comes back.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think the Clippers right now without Kawhi is better than the Lakers with LeBron, AD, and Kuzma?
Ooh, I mean, if healthy, no. But,
well, they are healthy at the moment.
Yeah, right now, yes. Okay, yes. The Lakers. I think those two superstars, with like you said, anybody are dynamic, but their history, especially AD's history, doesn't show that they're going to play, 70 or more games in a season. LeBron's getting a little older. I think he's an Iron Man. I think he'll be back. He'll be fine, but I do worry that the Lakers just don't have enough around the two. And I mean, even with Kawhi, you're still an injury away with no bench. I just feel like stability-wise, the Clippers give him a much better chance to win now and in the future, because LeBron's not going to be here forever.
Well, this is the thing. LeBron's pitch is, okay, here's the deal. I will definitely leave in about 3 to 4 years, and the franchise is yours. It's yours and AD.
Yeah, and it really comes down to then the general manager, which, as much as everybody wants to give Pelinka his due, that trade wouldn't have happened if Pelicans didn't fire their GM in the first place, because he didn't want nothing to do with helping Rich Paul out. And as soon as Griffin got in power, the trade went through. I think Magic would have made the trade just as easily if the GM situation was different in New Orleans, for sure. I don't think that was Magic's fault or Pelinka's, really. I think that was the GM of New Orleans didn't want to deal with other circumstances, and it wasn't the Lakers per se. It was the Rich Paul LeBron thing, and so I don't really think. I think the Clippers are much more stable long term. GM, owner, the owner wants to win. He's got the money. He'll spend it. I know the Lakers have some capital, but they definitely don't have what the Clippers do.
I got you. Well, actually, they do, because you have to remember that, everybody's got to spend the same amount of money. All right, you got a cap, and then not only that, you got to spend 90% of it. And so you got to take that into consideration. And not only that, like, say, for example, the Miami Heat just worked out a sign and trade for Jimmy Butler. The Warriors in the process working out a sign and trade for D'Angelo Russell, et cetera, et cetera. According to league rules, they now operate under a hard salary cap, because when you acquire a player via a sign and trade, you cannot exceed the cap at all. So you have to remember, a lot of times it doesn't matter how rich your owner is, because there's only but so much he's allowed to do. legitimately, legally, according to NBA collective bargaining bylaws, there's only but so much he's allowed to do. So you got to take that into consideration and understand, with that in mind, the Lakers are in every position to do just as much for their franchise as Steve Ballmer is in position to do something for his franchise. Appreciate the call. Let's go to Jim. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Jim?
Hey, Stephen A., great talking to you.
Talk to me.
Here's my comment. I believe fully Kawhi is staying in Toronto. Maybe on a 1, maybe on a 1 and 2.
You could be right. You could be right. I don't know, but you could be right.
And here's why. I think that, number one, he it's hard to believe he'd walk away from all that love, the championship, to defend that title. I think that doesn't make a lot of sense. Number two, he can wait and play, as everybody said. He gets his 2 years, his 10-year service. Then he can maybe end up at the Lakers or the Clippers. That's what I believe, and nobody's talking me out of that until he signs on the dotted line.
Yeah, we'll see.
My question is,
go ahead.
If that happens, can the Raptors, assuming they get out of the East, which I think they will, but assuming they do, can they beat the Lakers? Because the Clippers aren't going to be there. I don't know about the other teams, Denver perhaps, Oklahoma, I'm not thinking, but it sure looks like it's going to be the Lakers with AD and LeBron. So can they beat the Lakers?
Well, the Raptors as a team, if they keep Kawhi, could potentially beat anybody but a three-headed monster. I believe if Kevin Durant hadn't gone down, the Raptors would have lost in 5. I think Golden State would have smoked them. But the reality is that Kevin Durant was not healthy. And then after that, Klay went down. He missed game 3, was playing pretty much on one leg ever since. He certainly wasn't himself. And I think the combination of that, the injury to Kevon Looney, and how hobbled he was, etc., it just all spelled doom for them. They couldn't catch a break anywhere. You know, it literally got to a point in game 6 of the NBA Finals that the Golden State Warriors didn't even want to play anymore because they were scared about who else would get hurt. They thought that some black cat was running around, for crying out loud. They were scared that somebody else would get hurt. That's how bad it got. They're like, who's next? And
I was disappointed. I would have liked to see the full repertoire of weapons and see what the Raptors would have ended up doing.
All of us would like to see that. No question about it. Appreciate the call. Jay, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Steve, what's good, man? This is Jay from North Carolina by way of Queens, man. Just to touch on that Kawhi and that Toronto thing real quick. LA acting like they really don't consider Kuzma as a big 3. So why, if Toronto think about, man, let me do the sign and trade with Kawhi and Kuzma, they could get something back. I don't know if that can work, but I'm just shouting that out.
Well, first of all, why would Toronto want to do that? Who says they'd want Kuzma? You've got Siakam, you've got Anunoby coming back, you still got Gasol and these boys there. What I'm saying to you is that if you look at their team in place, Kuzma doesn't help you out at all. You might be better off losing Kawhi, creating some space, and rebuilding, which Masai has shown the ability to do.
Okay, that sounds good. I just didn't know how could that work. But I'm a long-time Knicks fan like you, man. Me and you the same age. I go back from Ray Williams, Michael Ray Richardson going against Gus Williams and Dennis Johnson. And by the way, Dennis Johnson should be on that list with Kareem, Kawhi, and LeBron, because I think DJ might have been the first to go from the West to the East and win championships in both of them. Gotcha. I believe he might have been like that.
But, go ahead, real quick.
But shout out to Scott. He did the right thing. How he did and conserve that money, even though we missed out. But our money is secured and taken care for years to come. He cleaned house. He got a clean slate. So it's up to him to make everything right.
Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about? Scott who?
Scott Perry.
Oh, gotcha.
He did the right thing, by saving our money. Even though we lost out on them.
They sign other players and what have you, and they got guys to 1 year deal, 2 year deals. Julius Randle, a 2 year deal with a partial guarantee on the 3rd year, etc. I get it, but I ain't trying to celebrate nothing about the Knicks right now. They lost out on 2 stars who picked Brooklyn over Broadway. That's an indictment. I don't care what anybody says, but I'm rooting for them. I'm still a Knicks fan, but I'm not going to root against the Nets either. Sean Marks and Kenny Atkinson have done a fabulous job. and Yormek and those boys and Prokhorov and those guys. I mean, they've done an outstanding job building an organization, and the Nets are clearly heading in the right direction. And major props to them. I got to get on out of here, JR. I appreciate the call. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Back with more on your calls in a minute before Ramona Shelburne comes on to start off hour number 2. By the way, if you missed my opening segment, go check it out on demand.